Hey, everybody, it's time for another daily drop here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. I am THI publisher Andrew Jones, and today's topic, as you probably know, awesome portal pickups for the Tar Heels. A lot of people say, hey, bring in a bunch of guys from the Power 5 level. Carolina went the other way. They went G5 for one guy I'm going to talk about. They went FBS for another. We will get into Elijah Huzzie and Willie Lampkin in a moment. First, a quick reminder, this show is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy, the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Go to underdogfantasy.com. We'll have a note from them a little bit later here in the show. So, Elijah Huzzie, I'm going to go ahead and begin with him. Played at East Tennessee State, which is in FCS. It's in Chattanooga, or not Chattanooga. It's north of that area in East Tennessee, obviously. The Buccaneers. They actually had some good basketball teams back in the early 90s. I remember those days. That's dating myself here, obviously. So Elijah was an FCS All-America, 2 years, had 6 interceptions last year, 6 interceptions the year before that. One of the reasons UNC was very interested in him and reached out to him when he entered the portal was because he's a guy that can see the ball, finds the ball, sees the ball, goes and gets the ball. And that's been lacking. In the first 4 years under Mack Brown Part 2, Carolina's cornerbacks combined for 8 interceptions total. Huzzie had 12 the last 2 years by himself. He had a bunch during fall camp in August in practice. He's getting closer to getting one in the season. He'll get some. He's going to get some. Now, a little harder at star when he's playing star than when he's playing corner. And he basically played star most of the game against South Carolina. Almost every snap he was on the field, he was a star. He actually started the App State game at corner. DJ Jones was at star, but Huzzie ended up getting the majority of the snaps, around 50 plus at star. Then he got some at corner as well. Teon Holloway ended up getting a lot of the other reps at corner opposite Marcus Allen. So Huzzie's a guy that a lot of people around the program think is going to play in the NFL. He can hit. He plays the run well. That's one of the reasons usually safeties go to star. It's sort of a star safety thing. But Huzzie as a corner went to star because he can hit. It's a physical position. And he's shown that he can hit. He can hit as a corner. He can hit as a star. He's an incredibly smart guy, huge IQ for the game. And he's someone that they trusted filling in for DeAndre Boykins, who was out for the year, who I thought was their third defensive player coming in to the season. So it's big shoes to fill. But you also, when Huzzie's a star, you lose having him at corner on all those reps, which is why I think the emphasis on DJ Jones getting more playing time and quickly learning as he transitions from running back to star, getting Stick Lane back on the field and getting him caught up. He missed so much time in August. It's going to take maybe a couple more weeks before they're real comfortable getting him out there in the field. Maybe he could take some of those star reps as well and get Huzzie over to corner. The point here is that you could find players anywhere. Huzzie was not rated coming out of high school. No stars. None. He's a guy that said back in August that the only way his family could ever see him play or friends could see him play before without going to the game was on ESPN+. He was so excited to be on regular TV. Now he is. He got to Chapel Hill, a little bit nervous. He learned pretty quickly he could play. His teammates learned very quickly he could play, and it kind of hoisted his confidence a little bit. Now, he's one of the most important players on this team. He's a guy that came from East Tennessee State. He's living proof that the star ratings often don't matter because the recruiting services didn't know he existed, basically. And by the way, he's a Georgia guy. You want to know why this staff loves to recruit Georgia? And you want to see the success that they're having right now with guys who are maybe undervalued from the state of Georgia? I submit Kamen Rucker as Exhibit A. It's because there's so many dudes down there, and it's so competitive down there. And Elijah Huzzie is another one of those guys. I'm going to hit on Willie Lampkin here in just a minute. Before I do, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy.
I'm very excited to announce our new partnership with Underdog Fantasy. We decided to partner with Underdog because it's the easiest place to play fantasy sports, and it's also the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. Now, Underdog Fantasy has a lot to offer, including their Pick'em game. And in Pick'em, you pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's game for a chance to win big. It's so easy to play. Just pick 2 to 5 stats of your favorite players and choose whether they'll go higher or lower. You can 20x your money by going 5 for 5. They also have a Best Ball Mania. If you think you know football, definitely need to check this one out. This year's Best Ball Mania has $15 million in total prizes up for grabs, with the winner taking home $3 million. So sign up today with promo code HEAL and get your first deposit doubled by up to $100. Visit underdogfantasy.com or find them in the App Store. And don't forget to register with promo code HEAL, HEEL, to get your first deposit doubled up to $100. You must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply. And if you are concerned with your play, call 1-800-522-4700 or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Back to the show.
Now let's take a look at Willie Lampkin. Willie Lampkin is also from Georgia. So let's add his name to that list of unheralded Georgia recruits that blow up in college. Lampkin was a 2-star guy, 5.4 rating. So at least he was rated by rivals. He went to Coastal Carolina because he's 5'11". The big schools stayed away because they got a box. And you got to fit perfectly in that box if you're going to be at a certain position. And 5'11" offensive linemen don't fit perfectly in that box. So he went to Coastal Carolina. Good program. He was there during their best years. And he was damn good. Last year, he played guard his first couple of years. Last year in 2022, Lampkin was a center, and he was a Sun Belt Conference Offensive Lineman of the Year. He decides, hey, I want to see what else I can do. He goes to North Carolina. This is after Ed Montilus had announced that he wasn't going to play football anymore. So Lampkin arrives. He's like, okay, I've got a great shot at starting here. Then a couple of weeks later, Montilus announces, you know what, I'm going to go. I miss it. I want to go ahead and come back. He was the returning starter at guard. So what's going to happen with Lampkin? He's got to battle a returning starter, a veteran like that for the job. But he still ends up starting. They move William Barnes out to tackle. Lampkin ends up starting at right guard. And then they lose Montilus for the App State game. So Lampkin moves over to left guard. He's next to Diego Pounds, making his first college start ever. And if you look at the way the left side of the offensive line played against App State, it was a thing to watch. I'm an old offensive lineman guy. I love to watch pad level. And if you look at the video that Jacob Turner shot that you can find on our YouTube channel, on our site, or you could hunt down on our Twitter feed and find his game highlights, he shot him from the end zone. And so much of it's with North Carolina's offense coming at the camera. Watch left guard. When you hear coaches talk about pad level, Willie Lampkin is the personification of pad level. He gets up under the pads and he can move the defender wherever he wants. There was one time he blocked the defender well into the end zone. If you remember the movie, the Sandra Bullock movie with the offensive lineman blocking a kid basically into the stands, it was almost like that. And he's a 5'11" dude starting on a Power 5 offensive line. He is a road grader. He is a glass chewer. He is a competitor. He is a trash talker. And he backs it up. He's a 5'11" offensive lineman who may well play in the NFL. He has graded out so far this year at 78.3, I think. His run blocking, pass protection, 81.2. Carolina's allowed 2 sacks in 2 games. Having a guy like Willie Lampkin out there is a big part of that. If you look at the 68-yard touchdown run that Omarion Hampton scored the other day, Omarion deserves all the credit in the world, right? But make sure you hang a star by Willie Lampkin on that one. Go back and run the highlight and see what he does to the guy that he blocks. It's masterful. So you're talking about a guy in Elijah Huzzie who's from East Tennessee State. No one would have thought twice about East Tennessee State until he came to North Carolina. They still don't know much about him. Then you got a guy like Willie Lampkin at Coastal Carolina. Nobody wanted out of high school. He was a great wrestler in high school. He wanted to play football. And he ends up playing above what people thought he would even at Coastal Carolina. Now he's a starter at North Carolina. The 2 most important pickups in the portal, and they're clearly the 2 most important, especially since Tez Walker can't play, are Elijah Huzzie and Willie Lampkin. And I could tell you right now, the program is highly intrigued about going and getting guys from a level below, because when they go up, they're out to prove something. They come in with a bit of a chip. instead of a lot of guys that kind of make lateral moves. There's a reason a guy leaves a P5. Maybe he's not playing as much where he was. Maybe he's just not very happy there, whatever the reason was. The guys that usually go from G5 FCS up to P5, they're trying to prove something. And so far, Elijah Huzzy and Willie Lampkin have proven that not only do they belong, they are two of the best players in this football team. And they are vitally important for this team reaching its goals moving forward. Once again, thank you to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring us. You're going to hear their name a lot this football season. They're going to be draped all over our daily drops. And also remember, the promo code is HEEL, HEEL, and you get your first deposit doubled up to $100. If you like the additions of Elijah Huzzy and Willie Lampkin, go ahead and click like on this video. Make sure you share it with Carolina Tar Heel friends. Let them know we're here. And also our site, $8.33 a month. You could be an insider too. And also make sure you hit the notification bell so you get updates every time we upload. And if you've been with us for a while now, you know we upload often. I'm AJ. We'll see you tomorrow.